G'day guys, Josh Huggett here from Joshua Huggett Media, and welcome to this week's episode of Talk Talk, where we're talking to Shane O'Neill from Sun Photo. He's an Irish photographer who changed his entire life at like 51 years old and went from being a commercial photographer working with some of the biggest commercial brands in the world and pivoting entirely into wedding photography. So if you're a photographer out there and you think that you can't do it yourself, or you can't make the change, or you're too old, use Shane as a perfect example of the fact that you can. We talk about all things AI, changing your business, working in commercial photography, how you can use that to better run your business, and just like starting out. He's like in his third or fourth year from memory, and he's already shooting like full-time amount of weddings. So dive in, learn the importance of actually implementing the stuff that you're learning online, making sure that you're making the most of all these online resources, whether they're coming from myself or whether they're coming from someone like a Ben Hartley, a Taylor Jackson, a Sam Hurd, a John Branch, someone else. Make sure you're taking in all this information and tailoring all of that so that you can better run your own business. But enjoy this long conversation with Shane. It's really good. Audio's a bit dicky at the start, but we do kind of fix it, so enjoy. Also, just a heads up, we started talking before the recording started. We're talking about the Insta360 camera that we put on the top of ours to record our behind the scenes. That's what we're talking about here, and then we go into the actual interview. I was just editing it and realized that I didn't mention that. So yeah, this is us talking about the Insta360, how we buy big SD cards so that we can keep recording the entire time, and then we go into more about Shane. Think I'm about to say something funny, and then I'll hit record, and then by the time it loads, like the moment's gone, or it's not a funny joke anymore. But so I ended up buying like a 500 gig micro SD, or maybe I bought a terabyte micro SD.
Oh, amazing!
And that way I hit record right at the start of the bridal party session, and then I just record all the way through. It does suck for editing, because then I have to come back and I literally just sit here and watch myself work for hours and hours every week, and just clip little funny things. But yeah, it doesn't.
I know. I'm in that process myself. I've probably brought it on, I don't know, maybe 10 different shoots. And I'm just getting into the editing now. I was watching one of your YouTubes and then just some of the other things. It's fun. It's totally fun. But I'll just jump in. So I'm Irish. I moved to San Francisco in 95 for a year, straight out of art college. Assisted right away for 6 years, like all over the States, which was a blast. Then had my own commercial business for a good 10 years where I was shooting a bunch of catalogs, traveling to Miami and, Mexico, Virgin Islands, nice places. Then that work went away, and then I was full-time with... Do you guys have the Gap in Australia? The sweatshirt company? Gap, the American...
Yeah. I know that thing. Yep.
Yes, so... sorry, there's someone moving the sealer at Silver. Oh, sorry. We have those things here. No, it's not. It's like, the way it's like all of California, like a missing child sort of thing. Anyway.
Oh, no, nah.
It's called an Amber Alert, so if there's a thing, then everybody in the state gets a text. But we'll deal with that later.
I feel like there would be heaps of Amber Alerts in America. I think that would just... Isn't it just
God.
called an alert there?
Yeah, well, it's just not everybody makes it to the Amber Alert. It's like fucking... Anyway, it's crazy. We won't even... That's another episode, But yeah, so back to the Gap. So I started working for them for 8 years. Really fun job. E-com, but it's Gap, Banana Republic, Athleta, Old Navy. Fun. And in the commercial world, I felt at the time, like, because the game is changing, like, I need something solid, right? Did that for 8 years. And around, like, the end of 2022, 2023, I was getting really itchy and getting, like, I wanted something that was mine. And I started paying attention to what was happening in the weddings. And kind of like the work drew me in, the fine art work. And I had shot a bunch of weddings before, maybe 20 plus, like nieces and friends and families, but not as a business. So that was March 2023. I started the Instagram. And then April, the next month, they laid me off 2 days before my birthday. So I was like, fuck it, I'm in the wedding game now. Yeah, thank you very much. So I shot my first wedding back in the game last September. So I'm coming up on a year in it. Um,
Yeah, wow. You
so
can
went from
definitely
kind of
tell that you've done photography before. Like if you just have a very, very quick glance at your Instagram, which is exactly what I'm doing
yeah,
now.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
you can definitely tell that you've done it all before. And even in the and it's weird, like your Instagram's so inconsistent in editing, but consistent in the same way. Like, you know, lots of
yeah,
people's like their Instagram account, they just make it fucking brown and white and black, and that's it.
yeah.
Yours
The
is
grid.
very
Yeah.
like, yeah, vibrant, but I don't know. It's hard to explain. You just have to have a look at
No,
it.
no, it's messy. I know that, and it's one of the long list of things I need to do. But Josh, I've been blessed. I've like picked up a fucking ton of weddings. I've got about 16 of my own this year. I'm associating with like one of the other big San Francisco ones, and then I got maybe four for next year. But I'm kind of
Yeah,
loving re-emerging myself. I'm 53. I don't look like it because I use Korean moisturizer. No,
yeah, I
you
do
know,
look
so
like it because I smoked for ages.
oh no, yeah, I know that's one of my many. Yeah, California. Um, you know what I mean? um,
Yeah,
but
but so having your own business then, I guess is I mean it's very much like having a baby, isn't it? Where you just now you're kind of in complete control of what you're putting out into the ethos.
100%, and I feel more in control of my career now than I ever did in commercial photography. And because we all know it's changing, it's just like you're either e-com, you're in-house, or you're one of the very, very, very small few that are getting jobs these days that you can make a living of. Um, so once I started paying attention again to what was doing in the weddings, and I'm a sociable person, um, and I just love being my own boss and being creative as fuck. Like now I'm buying all the cameras I tossed out 10 years ago, the Holgas and like the little point and shoot film cameras. Like I'm buying the plastic lenses, all that stuff, you know? Yeah. So having a
Do
blast,
you
you know?
feel? 'Cause you're probably the best person to ask this. Do you feel? And I think I already know the answer. That AI is going to take over completely the product industry, like you know, like a generic product photo where you put like a can of Coke and then they take a clean photo. I feel like that can all be done with AI now.
100%. It's totally been done. Even some of the big campaigns, you know, and even when I was working at the studio full time, like we went through COVID, like COVID hit, everything shut down. The studio was given some sort of emergency license so we could come back to keep that brand Gap, you know, going. Um, and even then, we were kind of doing a thing called avatars, which was, you know, the model would come in, you know, would shoot whatever we needed to shoot that day, and then would put them in grays or a pair of jeans and like a gray wife beater, and shoot them in various different poses. So if something else came and we, you know, the whole world got shut down again, they have all these model shots. You know what I mean? And then you shoot a shot of a shirt on a mannequin, and then slap that on, and that's even going to be easier now these days. So I just know because I still pay attention. Like I have my commercial Instagram. There's a guy out there in the commercial world called a photo editor. If you've heard of him, his Instagram. He owns a
No.
photofolio websites. But anyway, his Instagram is really on the pulse for commercial. And recently he did a post going, "How's your 2024 going?" And there were just so many comments and some really, really big names in the commercial world. You know, not that followers respectfully mean anything, but, you know, have a fucking ton of followers, people that I thought were up there, like shooting for the magazines. And so everyone's fucking hurting there, you know? And I commented on it, like I pivoted to weddings and fucking loving it. And I feel that's one thing that AI isn't coming for, or the part that it is the good part, like after shoot, because you got me into that. Not
Yeah.
you got me into it, but I played around with Imagine And then now I'm in my after shoot. It's fucking great. Once I use it properly, I wasn't using properly at first.
It's all about making sure to use it properly. So lots of people will use like AI, and the way that we use it here is that we use it as an aid, just like we use a camera as an aid. We buy better lenses as an aid to make everything faster and easier. We're using AI as an aid rather than to replace something completely. So like we use it for like 80% of the cull because it'll do a really good job at 80%. Like you're going to get rid of all of the bad photos, and then we go in and pick a couple of extras. What people seem to be doing wrong is like thinking it's a one-stop shop, and they were just go, nah. Well, I tried it and it picked a photo of the floor, so I don't like it anymore. And it's like, well, fucking of course, man. Like, it's a one-of-one photo.
You know what? I know, and it does that. And sometimes the floor photo is a good photo. What I found, and it was totally my fault, was after I delivered a gallery, and this is all this year. I'm learning so much. It was like, hey, where's Uncle Bob? You know, Uncle Bob was in that group photo. I'm like, fuck, did I shoot Uncle Bob in that thing? And anyway, Uncle Bob was hidden in the 2 or 3 stars. My bad for not, training it a bit better. But the relief when I found Uncle Bob.
How heavy do you have your culling? So I keep mine in the middle because I find then, yes, you get more of every photo, but you don't get too many. Like, so you don't get you don't cull too many where you're missing Uncle Bob. I haven't had for at least 18 months, I reckon. I don't think I've had anybody say, hey, where's so-and-so in this photo? And I think it's because we changed our settings.
Yeah, I'm the same as you. I do use the kind of the standard. So if I'm giving it like 3,500 images, I think it's bringing it down to like 1,500 or south of 1,500, you know. And it's all my error. It was kind of a little bit of me going in, maybe a wedding that I wasn't that passionate about, if you know what I mean. Let me just fucking bang this out so I can get this to them. I'm like, oh, okay. It's all a learning experience. That's what I find with most fucking things where I think it's wrong. It's like me not doing something right, you know. But it's fucking great. I love it. It takes away. Sorry, Josh. It takes away the boring part of the cull. You know?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of prepared the meal a little bit, you know? It's like, oh, everything's there now. Now let me sit down and have some fun with it, you know?
That's why I like it for our editing and so culling and editing, because I use it as like our base edit, so it applies, and we use it for consistency as well. So the biggest thing that people learn and the biggest mistake that people really make when they start photography, and you can look at everybody's Instagram accounts, and I went back recently and had a look at my own Instagram account and it was fucked, but the edits are just so inconsistent. There's like a couple of dark and moody ones, and then they find a new free preset online, and then all of a sudden they're editing all of their wedding photos really light and airy, and then they come back and sometimes it's moody, and then they go through like a black and white era, and then they come back and it's like all contrast, and then and so your Instagram, like your whole portfolio is just like this because you've got fucking no idea what you're doing, where something like Aftershoot can just, and even now, like 400 and something weddings deep, if I was to edit a wedding by hand, it would just be fucked. It would just be like, sometimes I get really into the editing and I'm like, you know, I'm getting right into it. I'm like, yeah. And then I'll just kind of like, my brain will go somewhere else. And then there'll be a batch of like 50 photos that are just like not as good as the rest. And then you come back and then you're like really into it again. And then you look at the whole gallery and it's like a roller coaster, and none of the photos look like they're from the same day. Yeah. That's where Aftershoot comes in. Well,
and gives you everything the same. Yeah, it does. And I found that before as well. Like I did when I called it my first wedding, but that was last September. I did create a preset then that I fucking loved, and I've been using that on all of mine since. But sometimes you do go down that tunnel of like, oh, I have Taylor Jackson's preset. Oh, what does that look like? Oh, I like Bahamas. Bahamas kind of looks cool. And then I'm like, oh shit, no, I can't make 3 Bahamas and then the rest, you know, Shane's profile. But again, it's
So
all the fun of it, you know.
Mine's still tweaking. Like even now, I still tweak my
Yeah.
after shoot profile
Yeah.
just to make it better. But we use it for like a base cull, so that way we have a nice consistent gallery, and then on top of that, that's when we create like our wow photos, quote unquote, the ones where they're gonna go, oh, look at that one, because like, oh, fuck it, I can't remember who said it. Somebody said it recently, but like, people only want like 5 photos from a wedding. They want a new profile picture, they want a couple to put on the wall, and then mum needs one for the fridge. There's like 5 photos. Everything else is filler. And it's all like memory holding that you may see come up on like your Google Nest or whatever you've got at home. That's your digital fucking photo thing. So we use our after shoot to make that like big base edit, and then create our wow photos out of there. That's when we spend a bit more time like deleting things, erasing.
And do you
things,
separate them when you're delivering your gallery? Like, are you going your highlights or your wow photos and then everything?
Nah, so we separate our entire galleries by the parts of the day, so that way they can go back and have a look at it again.
Oh, okay.
So we have like getting ready, ceremony, reception, family photos, bridal party photos, couple photos. So that way, if you're,
that's a good idea.
Yeah. Because we used to not do it that way. We used to do it where we would just have all of the photos, and then we'd have like a little highlight section of our favorites. But it became annoying for me. Like, I wanted to go back and find a photo to post it on Instagram or something, and I didn't want to have to scroll through all of the photos to find that one photo. So I was like, oh, geez, I wonder if this would be annoying for everybody. Like, would you be annoyed if your gallery, like you had to scroll through 1,000 photos to find one at the bottom of the dance floor? That's kind of frustrating. Yeah. Maybe we could just separate it, and that way you can just click through. And using something like, we use Pixieset, but you could use PicTime or whatever. If you're going through the gallery, it'll go to the next, so the user experience doesn't change. If anything, it only hopefully makes it that little bit better.
Yeah, I just upgraded my PicTime just the other day so I could do the slideshow feature, because I'm like, oh, I don't want to spend them, or I'm sending them 600 photos, but again, I know, like, let's just say 15 are absolute winners, right? And it's like, oh, they're going to kind of have to like dig through to find them, so yeah, I like that. I just made a note of that to separate it by the parts of the day. That's kind of cool. And then I wanted to add like, okay, here's the highlight gallery, here's your main gallery and stuff, and then here's your slideshow as well, because it shouldn't, and nobody should expect 600 beautiful photos. We all know I shoot a ton of shit stuff to get to the fucking good ones, especially with the family. Sometimes I'm getting better at that, but sometimes I'm like, oh fuck, and it's like it's focusing on the hedge behind them, and it's like that's kind of why I'm associate shooting, because you all get in your head and shit like that. And I'm like, oh, I came out of a full-time job, but I teamed up with a studio to like second shooting now and doing some lead for them. But the kind of value I'm getting out of that by seeing like doing more and more of the family stuff and seeing the crazy flow of the wedding, because I think it doesn't matter how experienced you are of a photographer and you've never shot a wedding and you step into a wedding, you'll still give them great stuff, but it is that chaos of the day and the formula of the day, and
they call
all
it
that
the
shit,
it's the Olympics of photography, because you have to do all different types of photography in one day. Like, you're doing product photography, you're doing candid photography, you're doing documentary photography, you're doing posing photography, you're doing model photography, you got to do like florals, and it's fucked. You got to do everything in one day. And I often joke about the fact that you need to be like a certain type of crazy to be a wedding photographer, but it's like stupidly true. Yeah,
no, it is true, and you get it. Like, I am getting one or two. And I know Taylor Jackson. I found those guys right when I kind of got back into it, and I have their focal website. Love that, and I love their contract that comes with that, because I was getting in one wedding recently that I absolutely killed. It was beautiful, and I brought my 17-year-old son with me. He got a pair of Skull Candy headphones out of it, but I give him the R6 and set it up on scene. But there was a couple of shots I didn't get because I'm in the other side of so I was artfully responding to their email yesterday. They love their stuff, but just like, oh no, I was at the back of the room when you were exiting. That's why I didn't get that. And then the contract states that,
Yeah.
but through the nature of the wedding, you know what I'm talking about.
So you use Focal's booking system, don't you?
Yes,
The
I do, and
Ignite
I did.
program?
I was in the Ignite, and I can talk to you about that. I did not sign up again. First of all, I love Focal. I love the website. It's fucking
Yes,
great.
we love
But what
Lachlan. I'm good friends with
Yes.
Lachlan. I went
Oh,
to
good.
Canada with
Lachlan,
him 2 years ago, maybe I was in Canada with him. With him and Taylor. We went to Banff.
Oh, great. Well,
great.
I met them, and it's funny because, as I said, I deep dived this. I discovered you a few months ago, discovered all them Taylor, Sam Hurd. I think I told you I'm in Jai's business program. Love that. But I went to WPPI. You should check it out. The one in Vegas.
Yeah, trying to go next year, but the most annoying thing about my business is that I'm in Australia and
So it's a different
our
season,
peak
yeah.
wedding season is when
Yeah.
all of these other things fucking happen. So it's either
Yeah.
I block out my calendar, but then I substantially decrease the amount of money that I'm going to make, but I get to go and hang out with other people, or I don't and I make more money and I'm in here and I'd make more content and stuff, but then I don't get to go and network. It's like really frustrating.
I loved it. I got to say, I loved it. I thought it was cool. I bumped into him. I went to Taylor's talk. I, chatted to him, chatted to his wife, and I'd kind of, met them on Zoom and stuff. But and met Lachlan as well, face to face. Their customer service is fucking amazing. They're so on it. I can kind of be passionate, and I wouldn't say difficult, but maybe close. To, sometimes like, come on, like what's up with this? But I did do the Ignite program. They did get me one wedding, and it was the bigger package, and I loved it. I just have something against doing the free engagement Facebook ads.
Yep.
When I first got back into this, I signed up with some other person, not saying, but another group that was charging so much more for the Facebook ads, and it just didn't feel right to me. So what I would do when I went with Ignite was I would screen everybody. So going in with like, you're not going to book me, but I'm still going to get the most amazing engagement shoot from you guys. Make sure that they look like my, you know what I mean, ideal client avatar. They look good.
Yeah.
So I did. I got like 4 or 5 fucking killer shoots from it. And then one booking. Totally knew it, but then when it comes to give the 18%, that stung a little bit. So this kind of, if I had maybe gotten 3 or 4 weddings out of it, I probably would have signed up again. But I want to give a crack at it now again myself. The course that I'm in right now, they're just about to do included in it. They're just filming an Instagram and Meta ad, run your own courses and stuff, But I could not say enough good things about Focal, Ignite, all those people. They're constantly on it, like calling me at 9 o'clock, all that. Yeah, super on it, and I appreciate it.
So for anybody that is listening that doesn't know what Focal is, Focal's like a website host run by Taylor Jackson and Lachlan Schlum, I think his last name is.
Something like that,
out
yeah.
of Canada. Yeah, it's just Lachlan something. Sorry, Lachlan, if you ever listen to this. I've been on their podcast as well, but so it's like a website all-in-one based for, like, it's created for beginner photographers, I'd say, and people beginning in their business, where they will make the process as easy as possible for you. They kind of like build the website for you. They then have like an online booking system where you can actually like physically just book through their CRM. It's a very basic CRM, so not as much like automation and everything you'd get with like Studio Ninja or Dubsado, but you do get access to all of that. And then they have an Ignite program, which they've just released, so only a few people can actually access it at a time, but it's like a booking studio essentially, where they run your back end. They will help you run ads, they will help you bring traffic and everything to your website and then book on your behalf. Yeah.
Yes, they have like a studio manager. Someone's acting as a studio manager, and you get CC. No, it's great if you can do it. I think San Francisco is just a little different market, but it was still a win because I booked a wedding and I got some crazy, crazy good shoots. Some of the couples I picked were it was really, really cool. So yeah, it
So
was
going
super.
back and pivoting from like commercial everything into
Yeah,
weddings at 53, how do you
yeah.
run that past anybody that you're like, hey, I mean, I guess you didn't really have a choice because you got fired, but like, how is
Laid
that a
off technically.
conversation that you sort of laid off?
Yeah.
Isn't that the
And
same thing?
here's the thing, Josh. I still work for them. I was working for them today, but I just don't have to show up for the Zooms. So now I
That's
get
better.
paid better, right, than I did as a salary employee. I think they pay like it's like close to $100 an hour. Um, I was just thinking, is there anyway? We can talk about is everything going online anyway, but whatever, it doesn't matter. But you get paid like $100 an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can talk about that later. But $100 an hour, and like you show up and shoot. Like all the lights are set up and stuff. You just bring yourself and
that's
energy.
sick.
So today I was working for the yoga brand, and it was kind of teenagers we were shooting. And tomorrow I'm shooting women's for the yoga brand and stuff. So it still was kind of a beautiful thing because as much as I didn't like it at the time, they paid me for 6 weeks, like once I left the studio, and then they paid me for 3 months after that. So you got a severance. Once those 3 months were up, I was eligible to come back, and they had me back. So it was great. I'm growing my wedding business, and they throw me like a couple of days a week, and
Yeah.
super social job and stuff. So, but yeah, how do you pivot? So there was a moment where I'm like, fuck, a little middle-aged moment where it's like, oh, okay, dude, you got no fucking, I've got unemployment for a year. I just fucking hustled, man. I think it's an Irish thing. I started listening to these like I looked at it as a challenge, because I was kind of getting a bit bored in my life, just doing the same thing. And then because it was corporate, you're told, let's move the light here when it really should be here, but it's corporate. So you have to put, you know what I mean when I say that?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I was just like, fucking dude, you asked for this. This is your fucking chance. And I just went out there and hustled. I scoured everything online. That's how I found, Taylor, Sam, all those guys. Like looked at all the YouTube stuff. I think I paid $67 for Jai Long's Unrealistic Workshop. And that blew me away. All the speakers they had. I'm like, oh my God, like I want a piece of this. And then I started reaching out on Facebook that I learned Facebook. So then I picked up the second shooting gig. Then, actually my first client was an Old Navy producer. Her wedding was 2 days. She's totally eclectic, an artist. So it was amazing. And then I just kind of hit the ground running, and
It's
hope to continue to do that.
I love so much about this and your story, mainly because there are so many people out there at the moment that are like, oh, the wedding industry's fucked, it's all changed, nobody's booking anything. There are like proper influencers and educators out there that have got no weddings booked this year and no weddings booked next year. And there's just like, there are just people out there that are still killing it. Like even straight out the gate, you've got, what is it? I just counted it. 71 posts on Instagram. And from 71 posts on Instagram, you've got 16 weddings booked and everything else as well. So it does go to show that if you actually do the work. And there is so much free education out there as well. Like so much.
And
you would never need to buy
and it's so good.
a course ever.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, and even you turned me on to the Insta360, and then I looked at your video about how you edit it. So I bought that thing right away, and I'm having so much fun. And I haven't even deep dived into that. Once I spent some time creating those reels and being creative about it, because that's another creative outlet. I'm just excited for it. No, it's been great. Like I booked another wedding last night for 2025, and I also kind of went with the mindset with like, I'm taking everything. Like, if you can't afford this, let me give you a break on it. Does that break sound good? I'm going to take it. I'm going to like fill every fucking weekend that I can this year, and just go for it. And then, I have plans with my wife works. She's got a proper corporate job. that she hates. She wants to get out of it. So she's either going to be an officiant or a day of coordinator. Both kids, my kids are 22
They're very
and 17.
big in America, day of coordinators, aren't they?
I think because most places demand them. Not demand them, but are required them. And sometimes they have a fucking friend do it and it doesn't work out. So yeah, I have all these plans. Josh, I was at a wedding the other day, right? One of these associate weddings, because that's kind of a different tier of customer. So I get to see that.
Yeah.
And they had all these LED trees, right? Like something that had Avatar. I'm like, fuck, how much are these things to buy? You know, like, shall I start buying some LED trees and get a storage unit and like set that up, you know?
This is
I want to get a
it's
photo.
a very dangerous game, starting wedding
Right.
photography, because you see so many other businesses, and especially if you've got like a little bit of a business mindset or you kind of want to work a little bit, there's so much shit out there that you could start doing. I saw it recently. I saw a video on it, and I can't find the original video. So if anybody can find me the original video, send it to me on Instagram. And this is what I'm going through at the moment, where and he says, as he's just opened up his studio so that everybody can come and have a chat. But it was something about
that's impressive, by the way.
somebody with ADHD and how, it's how they have so many things happening at one time, but you just need to, you got to think of it like an air control space and an airport. And while you've got all these things up in the air, you can't actually land any planes because you're too busy focusing on all this. All you need to do is land some planes, and then you can clear up the airspace that is your brain. Don't know where the original video was. They explained it way fucking better than I did. But
No, I'm getting it.
it's just very similar in wedding photography, where you come in and you're like, fuck, I should get a photo booth. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Bought one. I've got one. I hate running it.
I was going to ask you about that. I do have some questions. Yeah.
Don't like it. But you start with that, and then does there become a point where you dilute so much that you're spending all of this attention on all this other stuff when you should be focusing all your attention on growing like one asset of your business? And that's kind of where I'm stuck at the moment, is like, what do we need to focus on, and what's fun to focus on, and where should we kind of be going? Like, I don't know. There's a lot in there.
And I kind of feel right with like, and your popularity right online has just exploded in the last year, right? Because I think I found you 6 months ago or something, and I'm like, God, this guy is super fucking entertaining. I love it, But then there's opportunities to create from there, because I see these other people with a lot less maybe following than you that are pumping out the courses and shit, and I'm buying them, and I'm buying their templates and all that stuff. I mean, there's huge opportunities there. If you can be making money while you're sleeping, because someone's buying your course or downloading your thing. I mean, that's the Australian dream, or the American dream.
So we've
or
always
the Irish
had
dream.
a plan of like the Irish dream. We've always had a plan of like bringing out more content and all that sort of stuff. But where my route was different to others is that I wanted to make sure that I could practice what I preached before I started pushing it. You'll see lots of people. There's these fucking people at the moment. They're spamming me all over Facebook with their like, start shooting weddings. Like, how would you like to earn $2,000 to $5,000 a weekend shooting weddings?
I know.
Like,
And
blah,
I
blah, blah,
bought
blah.
them.
We'll teach you how to run a successful wedding
Yeah.
business. Yeah, but you look at their fucking website and their calendar, and they're still accepting 2024 bookings and like 2025. So evidently, you're not that fucking busy. You're not that booked.
Yeah.
I can't accept like any more 2025 bookings because I've already got 90 in the calendar. Like, I'm done.
And is that
2026, we've
90
already got
all
47
you?
weddings in the calendar. That's 70
Is that
men,
90 all
20
you
other
or your
teams.
team? Oh wow, 70 you? That's amazing.
Yeah, because I'm a fucking idiot. That's why. All right, let's circle back to weddings, and then we'll.
Yeah.
If you. So, how many weddings have you shot now, roughly?
In my life,
Yeah.
like let's say it's probably up between 60 and 80.
That's fucking huge. What would you say would be the weirdest thing that you've ever seen happen at a wedding?
Well, I wouldn't say the weirdest, but I'm starting to get my own wedding stories now, you know. So, so this one was kind of funny, but I felt bad. I think I just posted to my Instagram. I just delivered their gallery yesterday, but this was kind of like a gothic wedding, super cool couple. Like we did a foresty goth engagement shoot. They were amazing. Totally people you want to hang out with. They wanted to do private vows. So they didn't want to do their vows in front of everybody. And I was like, you have to let me in on that, okay? Like, I will stand back and we'll do it. So, like, after the ceremony, we did the family stuff. Then I hopped in the golf cart with the employee from the golf course. And the bride and groom were right behind us. And this was a public golf course in the Bay Area. So we headed out to the tree I picked. I'm standing way back. They're backlit. It looks fucking epic. The light's coming through the trees, right? I'm in it, and then I hear what I think is like a crackling branch, but I'm locked in. I don't care. You know, I'm just like, oh, and then a golf ball falls right down by the bride, right? And I was like, oh shit. And I have it all on camera, right? And it's on the Insta360. This fucking guy pulls up in his golf cart, absolutely fucking wasted, you know? Like, I'm sure it's the same in Australia. I don't play golf. It's not my cup of tea, but people just drink their heads off. You know, I'm down with drinking and all that, but people just drink their heads off. This guy was like, you're in the line of fire. And I'm like, oh, you know, this is, they're doing private vows. They have permission. And then he's like, oh, you're getting married. And the kind of groom is getting annoyed and like kind of turns round and just goes, can you just fucking go away? Right. So the guy moves about 10 feet. The employee from the golf club is doing nothing. She's just hiding in the golf cart there. The guy puts on his Kid Rock, you know, blasting and, you know, goes to take his next shot and go, ladies and gentlemen, that's the... He was just being an asshole, you know. And I just went up to him and I went, listen, don't worry about it. The fucking shots are amazing. And they were absolutely fucking stunning. We went back and then they went up to the bridal suite, did their private vows in private. And that was it. It was kind of cool. That's probably been one of the stories. My daughter and I, the second last wedding, it was 2 weeks ago, we were doing the flat lays, and I'm not a fan of that stuff or handling the dress. I'm just, you know, I'm used to, and I don't mean to sound whatever, but I'm used to like, oh, a stylist, you know, all that, like, oh, handle it and like getting it all ready. I don't want to touch it. But anyway, the bride and groom's rings, they looked identical, like, and we're moving it. And then I said to my daughter, her name's Athena, I'm like, okay, which one is her ring? And she's like, that one. I'm like, no, I think it was that one. So anyway, we ended up mixing the rings up in the bag, like, and putting it all back. So then, you know, an hour later, I'm like shooting the ring exchange. And then I just see this kind of look on the groom, like, when he kind of, huh? And anyway, we mix up the rings, but I hid behind the camera and, you know, thought nothing more of it, but it was just like another reason. I'm like, I want my people to lay that stuff out, you know? But yeah, it was funny. All those little things, you know?
We have to do everything. Like, we turn up into a room and everything's still in a shopping bag. Like, the perfume is still in the box. The shoes maybe have been worn before. There's no stylist. There's no coordinator. There's no nothing. Like, we have to do it all. Our first job when we turn up to a wedding. Maybe this is an Australian thing because we don't have many wedding planners here. But even weddings with wedding planners, they're not there in the morning. They're never there. But we turn up, and our first job is we got to find somewhere to hang the dress. We got to find somewhere to do the detail photos, and we have to take candidates at the same time because they're normally getting hair and makeup done. We do that for every wedding. We have to find somewhere to do all that.
And that's more or less kind of here. This last one I was lucky because the design of the dress was there and I just had him. But if I'm just going to pause you right there, and that's the value that I see right now of me associate shooting, right? I'm second shooting and I'm doing some lead for them because the money, whatever. But it's like I'm getting to fucking know all that shit. You know, when I came into it, like, it's a bit weird sometimes showing up to a hotel I'm kind of like you in a way, like I'm an extrovert and can switch it on when it needs to be switched on. But you're showing up to a hotel room with a groom, right? There's 8 guys. They're all fucking drinking Bullet, whiskey. One of them's wearing a Trump t-shirt, no judgment, whatever. But it's like, oh, you got to fucking switch it. It's like, oh, okay, guys. And they don't even want to. I'm like, hey, I need to get you getting ready. We need to move the ironing board, all that. I need it. And sometimes, if it's my wedding, like if they don't really want it, I won't do it. If they don't want the traditional stuff, and that's kind of what I'm finding my couples are. They don't want the traditional stuff, So I'm fine kind of not doing it. But when I do the associate weddings, we got to do that. Like the other day, I nearly fucking hung a jacket on the sprinkler, but then I noticed there was a sign going, "Do not fucking hang the jacket on the sprinkler." So I just didn't do the shot. I was like, fuck, I didn't have time. I am going to buy those things. I think you can stick up those hooks. They're temporary hooks. And,
me
you
and
can
Lewis
stick it
often
to a
talk
hook.
about those.
And then you can just change the hook in Photoshop. Make it to be a little antique brass hook or something.
Well,
just to bang it
our
out.
plan was just to bring a hammer and nails to wedding venues and just start hammering nails into... Because we go to the same wedding venues all the time. We haven't done it yet. If any of the wedding venues watch this, we haven't done it yet. Please don't get angry at me. But our plan was to just go to wedding venues and hammer a nail into the wall in the best spot for the dress photo and then just leave it there. And then that way everybody will take their dress photos there and it's like a purpose-built fucking nail. We haven't done it, but it's a fucking good idea.
I just have a fear. Like, I think I saw you. Was it you? I think it was you in one of the videos. It was you. You or Sam, but like was hanging it like on a fence outside in the garden. I mean, that would just... Yeah, I'm like, you know what I mean? I'm like,
we've never done
just
commercial photography, so we don't care. We don't.
Right,
Wedding photographers. Oh, we'll fucking just chuck it up here. It'll be easy. I've moved away from I used to put them in trees and stuff. I don't really do that as much anymore, just because it's not worth the anxiety of hanging it in a tree in Australia in summer with like birds pooing and stuff.
Oh my god! And if it dropped or something like that, I would just fucking hate. It'd be terrible.
My favourite line when I walk into a wedding room is always, "Hey guys, just going to take a photo of the dress. Don't worry, you're in really, really good hands. I haven't dropped the dress all day." And they always go, "Oh, hang on, wait a minute, what are you saying?" And then we just walk out with the dress.
And have you dropped the dress yet?
Not outside. I've dropped a dress indoors when it just like slides off the hanger. Another piece of advice for any wedding photographers or anybody moving a wedding dress is the more tension you can put on that coat hanger when you're moving it around, the less likely the straps are to fall off. Because as soon as you take it off the wall,
idea. Yeah.
And if you this isn't going to work on an audio-based platform, but for those of you watching the video, you can you hang the dress over your arm when you're carrying it out, but then if you pull the coat hanger up, you'll keep the tension on the straps and it won't fall out of the straps. That's probably my biggest piece of advice for wedding dresses. Nobody else.
And again, it's those little things. And when I go on these other weddings, it was even there was one of the lead shooters the other day. She got the bride, and then she was facing away from the camera, but then to kind of do a 180 spin, so then the bottom of the dress had this beautiful whirl to it. Little things like that
parking
are
the boat.
fucking... Oh, okay.
When you park a boat, you're going to take a really big wide turn. If every time you're walking in your wedding dress, you take really big wide turns, then your dress will always just kind of fall nicely behind you. And you don't
that's
get
exactly it.
Caught up if you turn too quickly.
Anytime I'm in a boat, I'm not driving it. I'm normally in the back having a beer.
Yeah.
Maybe a fishing rod or something like
boats
that.
because we get seasick. It's just not worth it. I'm normally over the back
Are you by the water where you are?
Yeah, everywhere in Australia is by the water unless you live in the middle.
Okay.
So it's 7-minute drive from my house. We're at the beach. We're always within 10, 15 minutes of the beach.
Oh, lovely. Just
because we're not even beach people. I don't even like sand. I think sand is the bane of my existence. Oh, it's just nice. You have a shit day, just go sit by the beach, just have a look at it. Yeah, easy.
Smoke a joint, look at the water.
Oh, the good old days. before kids.
Yeah.
Well, before young
Well,
kids anyway.
that's one of the beauties of California. Now you can just, buy your weed like a six pack. It's great. You get it
Yeah, I
delivered.
did that when I was in Canada. It was fucking wild. It was like walking into a pharmacy, but it was just all
Yeah.
weed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Here,
And
you still buy
sometimes
it
the
in a
super
Ziploc
package.
bag from a dodgy guy in a car park.
Yeah, same with my mates back in Ireland. That's another story, but yeah, same with my mates back in Ireland. Yeah. Anyway, I have another story about Iceland. One time, almost getting stopped in Iceland, but maybe for a different talk.
We'll do
if
it.
you know
We'll
what I
do
mean.
it. We'll come
But
back.
there was something I was going to say then, and it's gone from my head, but it will come back. But associate
What I
shooting.
wanted to touch on
Yeah,
was how you find, and now I've got very strong opinions on it, but I'm interested to hear your take on you being an extroverted person taking advice from someone like Taylor Jackson, who was an introverted person. You go first, and then I'll tell you what I think. I mean, I kind of mentioned it at the start, but
no, I fucking love all that content, the behind the scenes stuff of the weddings. Like, I probably watched them all, like folding the laundry. And that was where I first heard about, like, Sam, right when they kind of did that epic video. I'm like, oh my God, oh, here's my dog just came in. But I kind of loved that. And I loved his approach. And I don't think no matter who it is, you can learn from everybody, anybody,
what I think is, and this is
Harrison,
what
say
I had
hey.
to learn really, really quickly. Hey, buddy. What I had to learn really quickly when I first started is because I was taking so much advice from people like Taylor, and he's very open about how the fact that he's just an introverted photographer. That's why he shoots 35-85, because he's not as close. He likes to stand a bit further away from everybody, kind of give them their moment. And then so I was emulating that, but it wasn't really me. Like, I'm not that guy. So what you need to do is kind of like, and it goes back to what we started before we started recording, but you take little bits of information from everybody and then you put it all together and you make Shane O'Neill, you make Josh Huggett, you make whoever else. Like I took from Ben Hartley at the start because he was all sales. I took a little bit from Taylor Jackson on how to do other stuff. And then, you take you kind of like a little bit of Peter McKinnon personality, and then you sprinkle in who you are as a person, and you put it all together, and then you make like a business that kind of works for you, which is what you've done. Like, you're using your commercial skills, and your ability to already pose people in those ways that most other people wouldn't be able to pose people. So, could you hear that banging?
A little bit, yeah.
Sounds like there's a dog fight happening outside my door.
Oh, no.
But my dog's here, so I'm okay.
Yeah.
But you take all of these skill sets and you're building what is it Sun Photo? Sun Photo?
Yeah, Shane
How do you
O'Neill.
say it?
Shane
Is
O'Neill.
it just
Sun
Shane
Photo.
O'Neill? Sun
Well,
Photo.
I couldn't get Shane
yeah.
O'Neill. I couldn't get Shane O'Neill. Anyway, that's another fucking story. Like, there's a famous skateboarder, I think, that has ShaneO'Neill.com. And then I went to art college in Dublin. There was 20 students for every 2 years. This was the one spot to go to back then. And there was another Shane O'Neill in my class, So anyway, I went with Sun Photo, and then I went with Sun Photo Weddings. And then if I get a photo booth, it'll be Sun Photo Booth.
Sun Photo Booth. That's not bad. That's not bad.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you wanted to say or plug at the moment? And then we'll...
I got nothing to plug. I appreciate chatting to you. I appreciate stuff you put out there. Appreciate all the educators. I appreciate this new world. I'm loving it.
It's good. It's like a weirdly incestuous kind of world, wedding photography and wedding photography like educators, where we all sort of know each other and kind of coexist in the same area. Like I've met with Sam and Taylor, and we chat in DMs on occasion, and like we all kind of, I don't know each other.
And everybody's cool.
It's wild.
Everybody's cool. I used to never, ever listen to podcasts. And then, sans last year, and I'm driving, as soon as I dropped my kid off to school, I got the podcast going, for 30 minutes. And I listen, there's a handful I listen to. And it's great. It's like, because you feel part of the community. And then you go to WPPI, and it was funny because it's just like, I don't want to say fanboy, but yeah, you know, you fanboy a little bit. I'm like, oh, holy shit, there's like this person. And then I'm like, oh, so Sam, oh, he's so tall. And like, had a quick little chat, like all that, you know, it's kind of cool. There's a real nice community. I feel that, you know, and like anywhere, there's nice people and bad people, you know.
And that's what
But
you
yeah,
find
I
at
love it.
weddings as well.
And
There's lots of bad people in weddings.
there's lots
You
of
just
bad
get to
people
take photos
everywhere,
of
man.
them.
Lots of bad people's at the laundromat, just everywhere, you know. Yeah, it's definitely not all, you know, unicorns and rainbows and roses, but that's everywhere in life, you know. And kind of feel blessed to just be able to kind of reinvent myself for this chapter in my life, and I kind of feel it's one of my best chapters, you know.
Wow, 53, changing everything. All right, well, this has
Yeah,
been Tog Talk. It's been fun. Nice, fun little chat with. So you come go to Sun Photo Weddings, SINPHOTO Weddings, or Sun Photo. I mean, this has it fucking sounds, isn't it? It's exactly the same, which kind of
yeah.
works. But yeah, thanks for listening.
Son
If
with a
anybody
no,
listens.
not with a U.
Yeah, that's good. That should be on your business card. That's all for the episode with Shane. Thanks so much for listening to Tog Talk this week. If you tune in next week, we're actually talking to Justin from Aftershoot. So one of the creators of Aftershoot. He's also a fantastic wedding photographer, and we talk a whole bunch about flash photography, off-camera flash photography, and just how he's been a wedding photographer for, what do you say, like 16 years, and how we talk about aging out of the industry. Whole bunch of interesting stuff next week. If you enjoyed this episode of Tog Talk, make sure you give it a like and a review on whatever you're listening to it on. And then, yeah, if you want to come on Tog Talk, we talk to everybody from all different walks of life, no matter where you are at in your wedding photography business. We want to have a chat to you here on Tog Talk. It's just a conversation with photographers, for photographers. So no matter where you're at in your photography business, I'm sure you've got a little bit of information that you could share to help somebody else with their wedding photography. So come on, join the Facebook group, join the Patreon. Links are in there, and we'll have a yarn. Till then, see you next Tuesday.